I'm Lauren Layfield, and you're listening to Your Next Podcast. This is a podcast that brings you a different series every single week, helping you to find your new favourite show. Right, Furbys. Do you remember Furbys? You could talk to them, they could talk back. They would literally, listen to you. I had a Furby, and it used to, natter on so much, I had to lock it in a toy box to make it shut up at night, because I couldn't sleep else. They were wild. They were completely iconic. And do you remember the spy story about Furbys? So, for those who don't know, the little fluffy toys that we were briefly obsessed with in the late 90s and early noughties were at the centre of a huge scandal when basically they were accused of international espionage. Furbys were actually banned from aeroplanes, from hospitals and US government buildings due to fears that they were actually shady spies working for foreign intelligence services. It was actually a really big deal. So the comedian Joanne McNally, who you might know from her podcast My Therapist Ghosted Me, or she was on Taskmaster, she's here to investigate. So enjoy episode 1 of Joanne McNally Investigates, Did Furbys Spy on Us?
BBC Sounds. Music, radio, podcasts.
Just to warn you before you start listening, there will be swearing and some sexual language in this series, because I'm a sweary sexual kind of person. I know what I am, I swear like a soldier. I'll try to keep it to a minimum, but just in case you've got very sensitive ears, you can't say I didn't flag it. The year is 1998. And a small toy is about to become the number one present on everyone's Christmas list.
Hey, me, Furby!
With big pointy ears, a kaleidoscope of cutesy, colourful tummies, and some technical wizardry hidden inside, the Furby was the first toy on the market to listen to your words and talk back to you. And they took over the world.
For weeks now, Furbys, the lovable, computerized, lip-flapping furballs, have been sold out in stores as fast as they arrived.
But what if I told you that the innocent Furby toy you had on your shelf wasn't quite so innocent after all? What if those toys were actually part of an unlikely conspiracy, allegedly listening to our secrets and spying on our governments? Ridiculous, I hear you scream. Well, prepare your minds to be blown.
It was banned on airplanes. It was banned at the national security agencies. It was just crazy stuff would start happening.
In this series, I'm going to explore one of the wildest stories from the early noughties and investigate a claim which triggered top secret correspondence, saw an inventor go into hiding, and actually may have paved the way for the inevitable takeover of AI. And along the way, I get to try my hand at being a full-blown spy.
That was a voice recorder. It'll actually record for about 12 hours.
What?
It looks like a car key, yeah.
Just looks like a car key.
I undertake some death-defying experiments.
That is so cruel. And yet you keep hammering.
And I find out exactly what goes on behind the scenes at MI6.
Yeah, I mean, MI6 has a disguise department. Yeah.
What's a disguise department?
Well, it's a department that does disguises.
Hang on! Doesn't the Official Secrets Act mean I can't talk about any of that? Oh well, delete it if you need to, I don't care. This is a What's the Story production for BBC Sounds. I'm Joanne McNally, and this is Did Furby Spy on Us? Episode 1, Furby Phobia.
Here we go!
Well, what do you know? Here I am, again, Joanne McNally, comedian, podcaster, and serious investigative journalist. And not just a wannabe journalist either. I'm not a fake. I'm now fully legit. My first investigation into the very serious Avril Lavigne conspiracy theory couldn't have gone any better. And if you haven't listened yet, where the hell have you been? I spent 3 whole days on a painstaking investigation into a wild rumour that the punk pop icon was in fact dead and had been replaced by a very effective body double called Melissa. Now, since that series has aired, Avril/Melissa, we'll never know, stole the show at Glastonbury. I mean, I'm not going to say I put Avril back in the map, but I'm pretty sure I put Avril back in the map. And she hasn't even sent me a thank you, you ungrateful little swine. Anyway, the point is I can officially add investigative journalist to my CV, if I had one of those. And the phone has not stopped ringing. It is off the hook. I've had to turn down serious work offers from Newsnight, Panorama, the New York Times, This Morning, Loose Women, you name it. Okay, look, I might be exaggerating. I haven't heard from Loose Women. But people are sending me tips now, and they want me to solve real issues. I've been getting stories sent to me from all over the world, things to investigate, actual leads, and I'm loving it. But I really wasn't sure where to start. I have a talent for uncovering the truth, and I don't know where to put it. So when it came to getting back on the money horse and making season 2, I figured the best thing to do would be to get some expert help. Oh, my mother's always telling me to get expert help, but she means for the mind. Mr. Joe Lycett, firstly, welcome back to Joanne McNally Investigates Series 2.
Thank you. Congratulations on a second series.
Thank you. I hope you don't mind me leaning on your expertise once more, but I know that you are quite good at investigating things, and you know I look up to you and I admire your investigative skills.
Yes, yes.
So I wanted to get you back in.
I'm sort of one of the original sleuths.
You are an original sleuth.
Yeah.
We spoke about the Avril Lavigne conspiracy theory, which at the time was that she'd been replaced by a woman called Melissa. And
did Melissa play Glastonbury, or was it?
Melissa was in Glastonbury, so I believe. I wasn't allowed go.
No, of course.
No, there's some legal issues.
You've not heard from Avril, just to...
Well, I'm not. No, I haven't. That's the truth of the situation.
Have you heard from her legal representative?
There's been some letters.
Yeah.
And a lot of her fans who really don't want her to be dead, which is fair, you know.
Yeah.
I don't wish for her death either.
No.
So now I'm like, okay, what am I going to do now for this one? So I was looking at, because you know the way I like a kind of a diet conspiracy theory, nothing too intense.
Yeah.
Something light and fluffy. So I
9/11, I'm guessing.
QAnon.
Yeah.
That's what I thought I'd go for. Epstein's Island. So I did a shout out on Insta where I get all my ideas basically and data.
Yeah.
I was like, what can I kind of discover now? Here's that shout out I did to my followers. I have a question for you. So the podcast I did for BBC Sounds, who replaced Avril Lavigne, we have a series 2, which is great news, except obviously we're not going to investigate Avril anymore because she won't admit the truth, so we've moved on. So now it's just called Joanne McNally Investigates. And we wanted to do a shout out to see what would you like me to investigate on your behalf, like proper deep dive stuff. So we're going to put a box here. There's also an email address I need to dig out. And you lovely lot, you filled up my DMs like chicken breasts in a gym, bro. Here were some suggestions I got. The Bermuda Triangle. That's a good one now.
That is a good one.
Yeah.
But then you'd have to go to the Bermuda Triangle.
They're really milking it. Like 3 planes went missing 60 years ago. Like, get over it. Psychics, tarot cards. Now, I know, like, are you into that kind of thing?
I bought a tarot card set years ago, which was called Gay Tarot. And it was all the standard tarot cards, but the images were replaced with illustrations of six-pack topless men.
Oh, nice.
Sort of Tom Daly style looking men. But, you know, we got
our kicks.
I got 5 minutes of stand-up out of it.
Here's one. Are Italian men really the best lovers? I was like, that's more documentary, I think. That's more me getting... That's where the BBC will cough up to send me over there with a lot of lube.
But you'd have to do it with multiple men from different countries to establish.
Of course. Sorry,
it's a big undertaking, I would say.
It's a huge commitment.
People would watch it. I'm not sure it's a BBC commission. It's an ITV2 commission.
That is something I would love to explore, though. I have a friend who just came back from Paris. And she said it is a different ball game. They actually ask, like, whereabouts. They're like, oh, can I see the clit? Like, they actually ask questions.
Oh.
Can you show me on the vagina where the clit is, please, madame?
The petite clit?
Petit clit. Wow.
I know.
Yeah.
Get me
God,
on that
it's so
Eurostar.
different over
Get
there,
me
isn't
on
it? Yeah.
Eurostar.
Straight off the train.
Straight off the train.
Bonjour, Madame McNally.
Legs akimbo in the station, just waiting to go.
Sadly for me, my sex-negative producers ruled that one out on safety grounds. So Joe and I kept searching.
Is David Furnish really Princess Diana? Will and Jada Smith, are they really together?
What? Sorry, go back. Is David Furnish really Princess Diana?
I didn't know.
Is David Furnish Elton's husband? I think it is, isn't it? So it's the idea that Elton's married to Princess Diana and Princess Diana transitioned to become David Furnish? Is that what we're...
I guess. Yeah.
That feels like it's so implausible it must be true.
I know, it's one of those. You're like,
Well,
I wouldn't dare to question it, really.
Joe and I ruled out an investigation into the diminishing amount of crisps you get in a packet, which is happening, but not exciting enough. An email from a lady who wanted to stay a non, who asked me to investigate exactly where her boyfriend goes on his work nights out. I can tell you now, it's exactly where you think it is. And another email which just said, who is Harry Styles? I don't know, he's the sexy young lad in the jumpsuits. Anyway, I was starting to worry that I'd invited Joe along for nothing.
Okay, hold on. These are getting all really serious. Michael Jackson's death, is he not dead? Marilyn Monroe's death?
I would say both of them are dead, yeah.
How they built the pyramids, now that's a good one. Scientology.
I'd be just tread carefully on that one because they do follow you around, and there's a Scientology round the corner from me, a big, huge building that weirdly your phone reception sort of stops when you're near it.
Are you serious?
Yeah, because I play Pokemon Go around that area and there's no Pikachus around there, my friend.
Fortunately, me and my producers had found some alternative options on the World Wide Web, and amongst them was this, in my opinion, absolute gem.
So Furbies, those weird robotic toys from the 90s, were banned by the Pentagon because they thought the Chinese were listening to them through the Furby.
The childhood toy Furby is a Chinese...
spy.
Wow.
Yeah. That's good. Yeah.
You've got to run with that one.
Googling. What will I Google? Furby spy. Spell Furby. Furby.
Furby, I think.
Furby spies. They're just so cute, but I suppose that's how a spy would... Oh, here we go. On January 13th, 1999, it was reported to the National Security Agency, that's the NSA to you and me, of the United States, that's America, banned Furbies from... Furbies? Banned Furbies from entering NSA's property due to concerns that they may be used to record and repeat classified information, advising those that see any on NSA property to contact their staff security officer for guidance immediately.
Wow.
Why
would they see them just popping up?
Well, I mean,
it's like a horror film, isn't it? Just Furbies emerging.
It does suggest that the Furbies are kind of making their own way in NSA, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like they're swiping their way in themselves rather than being brought in. That's really funny. I think that's the winner.
Yeah. No, I think you're onto something there. They are one of those sort of early tech toys.
Yes. I never had one.
Oh my God.
Did you have a Furby?
I don't think so.
I had a Tiny Tears. That was kind of the height of technology at the time. It would piss out its eyes.
Yeah.
So they were banned in America. Furbies were banned.
Would that have been in the Clinton era? So Bill Clinton was sat around the table with Condoleezza Rice.
God, how do you remember Condoleezza Rice?
Well, I think she was George Bush's administration, actually, but let's just say she was there.
God, that's
Bill
really
Clinton,
brought me back there.
Condoleezza Rice, Monica Lewinsky was there, just in the background.
Yeah.
Hulk Hogan was there. Britney Spears.
Of course,
and they were all discussing the Furby.
The Furby, yeah. Now, firstly, I don't know why there was Furbies in the Pentagon. Like, who brings it? If you're going to record someone, would you not be a little more discreet than sticking a kind of furry toy on a table? Who's going to just start chirping back? And so my question is, what do they want?
Like, why are they hacking?
Well, with
Invade?
those things, imagine you're, sat doing a bank transfer, sending money to your...
Screaming out my IBAN and my sort code.
Exactly. Speaking to the lawyer to sort of pay off someone, and you're giving out your details, your PIN numbers, all of that.
Oh my...
It's all coming through the Furby, potentially.
Oh my God. Now, there's no evidence yet, but if this were true, if Furbys were secretly listening and spying, as the newspapers suggested, well, goodness knows what they'd have heard. And if they were spying on the Americans, were they also spying on me and you? Were we all victims? Could there be compensation? There's a lot I need to find out, but already I could tell this was big. Okay, well, Joe, thanks a million. That was really helpful.
So you're not going to tell me if it's... Well, I suppose you've got to go and discover what's happening there.
I have to go and investigate. I have to do some serious
Who are you going to speak
journalism.
to? Gary Furby?
I'm going to speak to the Furby community, Joe.
You're not going to do it. Your producers are going to do it, and you're going to parrot it.
I'm going to do it.
You don't do any investigation.
I'm going to go to the Pentagon.
No, you're not.
I might do. I'll zoom in.
Yeah.
I'll take a meeting.
I wonder if they do Zoom. They strike me as more of a sort of Microsoft Teams kind of people.
It's like, oh, not Google Meets, guys.
No,
Come on. The question of which online meeting portal was the preferred choice of the Pentagon could wait. I now have a new investigation to complete. Why were Furbys banned? Were they actually spying on America? What was going on? So, quick recap. Newspaper headlines back in 1999 reveal that the American Secret Service banned Furbys over fears they were capable of spying. To investigate this story, we need to go back to 1998, when I was merely a fetus in my mother's belly. We were only 3 years after Toy Story. Remember that? Woody, Buzz Lightyear, and kids were able to dream of a world where their toys came to life and you could buy your own Buzz, and at the touch of a button, he'd utter pre-programmed words, "To infinity and beyond." Whatever that means. Anyway, if that wasn't your thing, Tamagotchis were all the rage. They were like a pet for people with severe allergies. A little computer which you had to feed, put to bed, wipe its arse, and if you didn't, it would die. Not weird at all. And then there were Beanie Babies. Do you remember them? The nicher the better. By far the weirdest stuffed status symbol that's ever existed. The 90s were toy heaven. These were the glory days, before iPads and Peppa Pig and TikTok stole the attention span of an entire generation. And mine, for that matter. It was a simpler time. We all knew where we stood. Outside, on the road, playing with dolls and putting words in their mouths. But what if you could put actual words in their actual mouths? Was what one toy inventor probably said to another. And with that, the Furby was born. And my God, did it take off.
And finally, you're almost certainly going to be seeing a lot of this little guy soon. He's a Furby, one of just a couple in the country, but he's predicted to be in huge demand in the run-up to Christmas.
The things were feckin' everywhere. Furbys were the Christmas gift of 1998. They sold 27 million of them that year, and they were worth a fortune on the black market.
There's 2 of them hiding in Pam Schweikowski's closet, and she's offering them up to the highest bidder.
I have had offers from $150 to $650.
Hundreds of dollars for a toy that feels, sneezes, and yes, it can be taught to speak English.
I think it's crazy, and I personally would not pay $650 when you know that it's only a $40 toy. But some parents feel the need that their children have to have those kinds of toys.
It felt like the future had landed. Here was a toy which you could play with and talk to, and it would listen. It could learn English and it would talk back to you. Listen to this claim from the early adverts.
What's that? Me up. It's my Furby. Furby loves you lavender. Tickle me.
Furby, the first gigapet you pet.
Go ahead. Pet me.
Teach to say her name.
Me, Noodle.
Play games.
Bab. And love you back. Uh-oh. Achoo. Your Furby sneezed. Achoo. And gave mine a cold. Furby loves you lavender.
The Furby could catch a cold and spread disease to other Furbys, like the plague. That's disgusting. Anyway, that's honestly a real advert from the first launch. Get a mask for that one. And rumours of what Furby was capable of spread like wildfire. In this CNN report, they tested out whether or not the toys were indestructible.
In a test of Furby's endurance, we stuck him in the freezer. Nor did he die from being blow-dried. We finally placed him on 8th Avenue, where bicyclists and motorists tried to avoid him, nevertheless. But Furby kept twitching. He's harder to kill than a gremlin.
They were so popular, in fact, that people bought them to avoid FOMO. Like this lady.
Apple II. What is the appeal? What are you...
I don't know. I'm just getting them because everybody else is.
The Furby really caught the imagination of the world. But did they spy on us? That's the question I'm here to answer. So to investigate these wild claims, I needed to get my hands on one and speak to some Furby experts, or fexperts, as I like to call them. I needed someone to tell me why the Furby had become so popular and to separate the online paranoia from the truth. What could the Furby do? So I visited Sarah, a Furby collector and restorer at her home in Dorset, and I did some professional research. We're in Weymouth, which is a gorgeous seaside town. I'm here to meet a Furby expert or a Furby collector. So she collects old school Furbies and she restores them. That's all I know. Hi, lovely to meet you. I'm Joanne. It is Sarah, isn't it?
Sarah.
Oh my God, this is gorgeous.
You go ahead and turn to the right.
Oh my God, this is amazing. Stop. Oh, you did not disappoint. What you're imagining is a few dozen Furbies collected together in some sort of display, but in reality, it was like a Furby factory had vomited inside Sarah's home. Like one giant Furby had birthed 60,000 small ones. And my eye was immediately drawn to a befuddlement of medium-sized pink Furbies on the table. Oh, look at him. I love pink and I love fur and I love animals. So basically, this is my wet dream. How many Furbies are in this house?
200 plus, maybe. Okay. The Furbies everywhere.
Which is the first Furby? Can you?
The first Furby are the adult Furbies, which are slightly bigger than the babies. And this is a Furby adult from 1998 when they were first made, called Church Mouse.
Church Mouse. Okay. Yeah. So
great name.
Church Mouse is a great name. He's fully grey. They're non-binary, aren't they?
They are, but often a lot of people give them their sex, male or female.
I think he's got male vibes. Do you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's got masculine energy.
Yeah. With pink ears. That's cool.
With pink ears,
he's a modern man.
Yeah, he's a modern man. He's a modern man. I love a salmon pink on a man. Well, it's kind of fascinating to meet one of the OGs, one of the originals. Sarah also very kindly gave me a tour of her home with Furbies stuffed in Tupperware boxes, in drawers, spare eyelashes on the table, and even Furby skins in an array of colours hanging on the wash line. Not creepy at all. Meet and greets out of the way, I got down to business. How is it able to do this? What are its capabilities?
Listening. Obviously, because it reacts to that.
Yeah.
Movement, people moving around it will set it off. And of course, light. They like light. So you put them in a darkened room to quiet them down.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they will happily go and go and go. Some talk a lot, some just be really quiet, and then they suddenly wake up and you forget there's batteries and it makes you jump. Oh, gosh, yes. There are stories of Furbies that wake up at night and start laughing and doing their thing.
Okay, so Furbies react to noise, light and movement. And Sarah told me that each one was programmed slightly differently, giving it different moods and personalities, like a human brain.
Because they're quite complex, they also have their own individual personalities, characteristics.
Okay. Cocky, confident and vulgar personality. Upfront comments. That sounds like that could be attached to me. So they actually have personalities. Like I'm not going to lie, Sarah, I wasn't fully buying that, but it seems to be completely true.
They definitely have their own They have a lot of personality. Some are grumpier. Oh. They get really grumpy and start getting thrown a strop.
Okay.
But there's a certain point where they start getting nasty. Not nasty, but they just their character gets really cheeky.
I can't get my head around. Are they sentient or not? Like, what's the deal? The more I learned, the less I understood. Do they have memories? Can they choose when they want to speak? And if they're home alone, who the hell are they talking to?
I mean, I can understand how in 1999 people were like, what is this?
Yeah.
What? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and it was quite sophisticated toy. They thought, being electronic equipment, it could record things, it could be a spy, it had eyes, it had a sensor, maybe it could, see things.
I am getting an espionage vibe off these guys.
I don't know who set the vibe off. But from the 1990s, there was a lot of suspicion around them, yes.
Yeah.
Because there weren't toys like this available.
I can see why the Pentagon was so nervous.
I get it. The Furby was unique, and nobody truly knew what it could or couldn't do. That was the crack, I guess, and also the mystery. Before I left, I asked Sarah to show me some of her favourites, and she picked out a special edition Royal Furby.
Hello? Your Royal Highness? Hello? I've never met a monarch before. Oh. Oh my God, am I tickling him?
They do like tickles.
Why does this make me want to cry? What's wrong with me? I'm tickled, okay. Oh, love it. I think this one's mine. And I'm not even a royalist, but I find this one, I think I've just really connected with this one.
Something strange was happening. I was literally cooing over the Kate Middleton of Furbys. Was I being swept up by Furby mania myself and not even realising it?
What happens when you pass on? Are they in the will? Or have you thought about where they're going to go?
It might be like an Egyptian tomb. We'll be buried in one Furbies.
Like Tutankhamun on his gold. Yeah. Sarah, spread out, surrounded by her Furbys.
And never be lonely again.
Chirping through the ground and chirping through the grave. Can you imagine the cemetery? They'd be like, oh my gosh. They're 12 feet deep, but they're still talking.
After confirming Sarah's burial plans, it was high time I make my excuses to leave.
Okay, so I'm kind of starting to understand the cultishness of the Furb.
Okay.
And I understand that they are very innocent and cute. However, as innocent and cute as they look, I still just don't understand how this rumour about them kind of keeping information or telling secrets came from nowhere. So I'm gonna go deeper, Sarah. I think you're offering me one version of Furbys. I think there's a more sinister side to these guys.
I came away from Sarah's with some newfound understanding. I finally understood the appeal of the Furby. They are cute and strangely compelling. But I also understood why they were feared. Because they're just so mysterious. Having different personalities, they react to light. They're more human than some of my exes, to be perfectly honest. But the rumour that Furbys were being used as spies, well, that takes us to America, the land of the free, and the land of those giant buckets of soda that last for 5 years. So, of course, I packed my bag with everything you need for a trip to the US of A. Passport, check. Dollars, check. Elasticated waisted trousers so I could really get stuck into the food over there, check. But then I got an email from my producers.
Hi Joanne, thanks for the detailed itinerary and great work finding the only 24-hour all-you-can-eat buffet in Rhode Island. However, I'm afraid the BBC has a detailed sustainability policy and we're committed to reducing carbon emissions, so overseas flights are not approved on this series.
You tight bastards. Luckily, I had a plan B, the internet. And so I got to work, starting with the news headline I'd found with Joe Lycett. What else did that article say? I've done some digging and a lot of reading, and I think I found where it all began. There's a whole bunch of articles about this, but the earliest one I can find is from January 1999 in the Washington Post. And the headline, it says, "A Toy Story of Hairy Espionage." And the article goes on to say, the National Security Agency put out a Furby alert on its internal intranet in early December and banned the Furby from Fort Meade. Now, obviously I don't have a clue what Fort Meade is, and I've no clue what the intranet is either. But it means that this story is real and it actually happened, and it gives me a date. December 1998. I was on a roll, just a few clicks and a couple of phone calls, and I'd found more. So, Fort Meade, it turns out, for anyone who doesn't know, is the headquarters of the National Security Agency in Maryland, the US of A. It's basically where all the spies live together, like boarding school, as well as members of the US Army, Navy and Air Force. It's a lot of uniform. And it turns out it wasn't just Fort Meade that had gotten Furby phobia, or Furbia. Others were scared too. I can't believe it. There's more articles here. A bit later in 1999, Furby ban extends to the Pentagon. And another one here saying that Furbies aren't allowed on aircrafts and need to be stowed down below with the luggage. So Furbies are now an international threat on planes. How the fuck would a Furby hijack a plane? They don't even have arms. At some point in December 1998, something took place at Fort Meade, the home of the American spies, which caused some very important people at the top of the national security of America and some of its biggest airlines to have a massive panic and ban Furbies from their buildings and aircrafts. But whatever that something was, we don't know. And from what I can tell, that ban is still in effect today. So I did what any proper journalist would do, went straight to the source and asked for clarification. You see, Mr. Lysett, I do conduct my own investigations on occasion. Is this the Federal Aviation Society? Do you know anything about when America banned Furbies on airplanes? The FAA, okay. Do you have a number for them? Hello, Roger. My name is Joanne. I'm doing some journalism for the BBC. I have a question for you, if you don't mind me asking you. Do you know anything about the time? Are you allowed to bring Furbies on airplanes in America? Don't worry, I'll get to the bottom of it. Imagine they have the wrong number. If you want to know if you're going to bring Furby into America, please dial 8. Hello, I'm doing a bit of research. I wanted to ask you, am I allowed to bring Furbies into America? I think they thought the Chinese were listening through them. The NSA just hung up on me. Is that allowed? I'll tell you something. This information is not easily obtained. If America was refusing to help, well, that just raised my suspicions. But undeterred, I spoke to Hasbro, the people who make the Furby. Oh yeah, do you make Furbies? And are you aware that Furbies have been accused of espionage by the American government? Did you not know that? I was wondering, is there any chance I could get into the factory and investigate this myself? The helpful lady from Hasbro told me I could not enter the factory. But she also revealed that the factory was in the Far East. And I don't think she meant Norwich. Oh, okay, that's good. Okay, good information. Thank you. Bye. So I'm going to the Far East. So there you have it. Don't take a Furby anywhere. They're on the same prohibited items list as a loaded weapon and a bag of crack. And is it really worth staring down 6 hours of interrogation to explain why there's a Furby in your backpack? Probably not. My trip to see Sarah had been illuminating. Furbies were full of mystery, full of secrets, each one capable of things which I didn't quite believe. So the idea that they were spies, it wasn't that far-fetched. There's only one person who can know for sure if a Furby is spying or not, and that's the guy who invented the Furby. His name, according to Google, is David Hampton, which sounds like a pseudonym, to be honest. And if David Hampton is on the payroll of some foreign government, well, there's my answer. Now, David, I'm coming for you. Did you hear that? I'm going to find you. I'm going to find out why you invented the weird little Furby. And I'm going to find out who you really work for. Next time on Did Furbies Spy on Us? Hello, sorry to bother you. Is your name David Hampton? Did you by any chance invent the Furby? So you're not a spy! Telesales, poor bastard. Did Furbies Spy on Us is produced by What's the Story Sounds for BBC Sounds.
BBC Sounds.
I literally love Joanne. I think she's hilarious. And the rest of her investigation is out right now. So just search Joanne McNally Investigates to find more episodes right after you hit follow on your next podcast right here. You can find all my recommendations along with news, reviews and loads more on Podcast Rex at www.podcastrex.com. That's www.podcastrex.com.